That is true.
No way, not true, can't be true, absolutely not a fact. Not a fact. No way, no.
Hey guys, what's going on here?
Quinn has this preposterous thought about polar bears. She thinks it's a fact, and there's no way, no how it's true. There can't be true.
Well, can you guys tell me?
Let her tell you, it's absolutely ridiculous. No way, no how.
It's true.
What? There's absolutely no way that polar bears can actually...
Guys, we have to save that fact for later in the video. Let's just learn about polar bears now.
But they need to know that polar bears are actually...
Polar bears are marine animals just like seals, whales, as well as dolphins. And this is actually because they spent a lot of months at sea.
Polar bears are the only marine mammal that have large feet and very powerful limbs. This allows them to run on land for far distances.
Polar bears are actually related to the brown bear, but they developed over time to live in cold, northern Arctic environments.
Polar bears live on shores and on sea ice in the freezing cold Arctic.
And when sea ice forms on the ocean in cold weather, many polar bears head out onto the ice to hunt for seals.
Polar bears can swim for days at a time to get from one piece of ice to another.
That's right, Cadence, and usually they swim for about 30 miles, but sometimes even more than 100. And as the ice melts during the summer, it actually forces polar bears to stay on land and wait until everything freezes again.
Polar bears have broad front paws with slightly webbed toes, which help them swim.
You're right again, Cadence. Polar bears actually paddle with their front paws and steer with their hind paws. Their paw pads have rough surfaces that help polar bears from slipping on the ice.
So, how large are polar bears?
That's a good question, Quinn. Adult males can weigh between 775 pounds to 1,200 pounds, and they can grow to about 10 feet tall. That's as tall as a basketball rim.
The largest polar bear ever weighed 2,209 pounds. That's as much as some cars weigh. Wow.
Adult females weigh about 330 to 650 pounds, and they grow to about 7 feet tall.
In the wild, polar bears live up to the age 25.
And polar bears are mostly carnivorous. In fact, they're the largest living carnivores that live on land.
They often eat seal blubber because it has a lot of fat. They also eat walruses and beached whales sometimes.
And if they get stranded on land, they will eat vegetation, geese, bird eggs, and even caribou.
They can live off one seal for about a week, but they'll get very hungry if they have to wait that long.
A polar bear's sense of smell is amazingly strong.
They could smell a seal on the ice up to 20 miles away. Wow. And smell a seal up to a half-mile away underwater. Whoa.
And seals are much faster than polar bears in the water. And this is why polar bears use their incredible sense of smell.
They'll actually sit and wait for a seal to pop out from the water before attacking.
And polar bears also have a unique liver that allows them to process all of the seal fat that they actually eat.
So, where exactly do polar bears live?
Polar bears can be found in the Arctic, Alaska, Canada, Russia, Greenland, and even Norway.
And all of these countries have either outlawed hunting or created strict rules for how many polar bears can be hunted inside that country.
And these laws are what helps keep polar bear populations steady.
About 25,000 to 40,000 polar bears live in the Arctic. That's a lot.
A female polar bear can start having babies around the age of 4 or 5 years old.
They usually have 2 cubs that they give birth to in a cave they've dug in a large snowdrift.
And they'll wait there during winter and come out in the spring with the cubs.
Hey, guess what? Did you know that polar bear cubs are much smaller than human babies when they're born?
That's true, Quinn. They're actually only about the size of a rat and weigh less than 2 pounds when they're born.
The mother feeds the cubs milk, and this helps them grow fast. Just over a little 2 months later, the cubs now weigh 20 to 25 pounds.
And in about a year, a polar bear can grow to the size of a full-grown adult man if they have lots of food.
A cub's fur is extremely fine and makes them look like they don't have any fur at all.
Polar bear cubs are usually born between the months of November and December.
The mother usually looks after the cub. The father doesn't help raise them at all.
Mother polar bears do not like to swim with their cubs when it's still cold in the spring because the cubs do not have enough fat to stay warm. It's actually their dry fur that keeps them warm.
Cubs will drink their mother's milk, but as they get older, they'll leave the den and learn to eat and hunt for seals, but they can still not live on their own.
And once they are about 2 years old, the cubs will have grown into large bears and leave their mother for their own territory.
Sadly, many polar bear cubs will starve. In fact, about 70% do not live to see their 3rd birthday.
So, do polar bears talk to each other?
That's another good question, Quinn. Actually, polar bears use body language and mouth sounds to communicate with each other.
They swing their heads from side to side when they want to play, and loud roars, hisses, or growls when they're mad, and deep growls when they're defending their food. Oh, get away from my pizza!
And when 2 polar bears meet, they have a unique way of approaching each other. They circle around each other and begin grunting. Then they get closer and touch their noses together.
Humans are polar bears' only predators.
As people continue moving into these Arctic areas to drill for oil and coal, there is less space for the polar bears to live and survive.
So remember earlier, I didn't believe this? Well,
So here's the big question. Are polar bears really right? Are polar bears really white?
wait till you find out.
Yep.
Welp, here's the answer. Polar bears look like they're all white, but their fur is actually clear. Their fur's core is actually hollow and looks white because it reflects light.
Their fur is made up of a layer of thick underfur and an outer layer called guard hairs. And this fur keeps them very warm.
That's right, Gus. On sunny days, their fur traps the sun's rays and keeps the bear's temperature at 98 degrees as they rest. And polar bear fur is actually oily and repels water. Polar bears easily just shake any water or ice on them after they went swimming.
So I guess now it's time to tell them that crazy fact that actually is true.
Hey, guess what? Polar bear skin is actually black and has a layer of fat about 4 to 5 inches thick.
Isn't that crazy? Who would have thought that polar bears that look white actually have black skin underneath?
Yep.
And it's this dark colored skin and those 4 to 5 inches of thick fat that helps them from losing their body heat and keeps them warm under the water.
Well, hey, guess what? Now we know all about polar bears and that amazing fact from the beginning.
Thanks for watching.
Make sure to subscribe.
Bye.
Bye.